Dr. Larry Patrick, and I'm here to talk to you about something I'm sure you've been hearing in the news a lot. The name jade helm. A lot of people have been wondering what jade helm is. Well, we're going to be teaching about it. Not just it, but about a lot of things at the end of this summer, at the end of the month of July, at a workshop. But before I get there, what is jade helm? Well, from July 15th to September 15th of this year, the U.S. Army and Special Operations Command is going to be conducting massive military exercises covering the entire American Southwest. One author said that at first glance he thought this drill was a response to the massive military drills being conducted by Russia, and that he had assumed that jade helm was a drill designed to protect the American Southwest from an invasion by Russian-backed Latin American military. But then, after reading the operational manual, he realized that jade helm wasn't an exercise by the military to protect from some outside force. No, indeed, jade helm is an operation by the U.S. military, along with the use of Green Berets, Navy SEALs, and Special Operations Command forces to do one thing, and that is to enforce subjugation of the people of the United States to martial law. Now, the question might be, why would the military spend 8 weeks to institute martial law amongst its own public? Well, I could read to you several things that have been stated. But first, let me just tell you that jade helm is a broad U.S. operation involving many agencies of the United States, including DOD, and a legislation started known as NDAA. NDAA created a program called 1033. And 1033 was started to make, to utilize military equipment, giving it to the local police, including tanks, machine guns, and the like, for one purpose. And that purpose is to turn the local police force into a martial law occupation force. The U.S. government instituted this policy. They instituted the practice of giving away military equipment and to train local police in becoming a martial law operating force or occupying force. But what does this have to do with jade helm? Well, they're going to practice it for the next 8 weeks in those states covering from California all the way to Texas. One author tried to write a conclusion of what he thought jade helm was. He said, with regard to the thematic components of this article, it is quite clear that the Army fully believes, as do their superiors at the Pentagon and at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, that there is a belief that there's going to be something so catastrophic that the American public may start another civil war. What could happen that could cause a civil war? Could it be the eruption of Yellowstone National Park's supervolcano? Or possibly the earthquake that has been prophesied or predicted to happen in California? I don't think it's either of those things, because those things would disrupt the military as much as it will disrupt public. No, I think it's another event that the United States military and our government are preparing for. I think it is the event known as the rapture. You see, jade helm ends on the last day of the 5th feast known as Rosh Hashanah. And that, my friends, is no coincidence. The feasts are prophecies of God, prophesying his program for humanity. Every feast is a prophecy concerning something that has to do with the church or Israel. Christ himself died on the first feast. He was resurrected on the 3rd, buried on the 2nd. And the church itself began on the 4th feast day of Israel, known as the Feast of Pentecost. Christ returns on the 6th feast day, which is the ending of the tribulation. And the millennial reign of Christ starts on the Feast of the Tabernacles, which is the 7th feast day. There's one feast day left. It is the 5th feast day. We call it the Feast of Grace, but it is known as the Feast of the Trumpets. We at CARES since 1988 have taught that the church must be raptured at the end of the Feast of the Trumpets. Why? Well, it's the feast known by the words, "No one knows the day or the hour in which it will begin." Truly, during that 48-hour period of time, no one knows on what day or what hour of that 48 period of time that the rapture will happen. But it must happen according to God's program. Our government is aware of that. So, we're going to be teaching a workshop at the end of this summer, starting on July 31st at 7 p.m. and ending the next day at 6 p.m., in which we will be teaching the rapture, the tribulation, millennium, and eternity. We're inviting you to come learn why the U.S. military is preparing for the potentiality of the rapture. Because you see, if the rapture happens, it will be so much chaos in this country that they will have to institute martial law to stop the looting, the rioting, the burning, and overall just absolute chaos that will ensue after you and I disappear. Come learn about it. It will be held, the workshop will be held at Agape Community Bible Church at 12320 Beechnut Street. That's in Houston, Texas, 77072. We want you to come.